some people say that they don't make things like they used to, but they do. This is the Zeiss Loxia. Not only do we have one luscious Loxia, but we have two 35mm and 50mm, both f2 lenses. And really, you have to handle one to appreciate how beautifully put together they are. In a world of plastic lenses with plastic mounts and plastic everything apart from the glass, there's this beauty from Zeiss. Metal lens hood, metal body. It looks oh so gorgeous. There's a utilitarian gorgeousness about them, subtle almost, if it weren't for the Zeiss logos on a lens hood. The aperture clicks nicely. Sounds nice. And the focus ring, buttery smooth. Focusing is like rolling around in a bath of warm butter, lubricated with some other smooth substances, but the focus ring isn't slippery, it is nice to grip. But then you'd expect this to be buttery smooth because it doesn't autofocus. This is a manual focus only lens. For sure, there's a market for manual lenses for the Sony A7. It's just that there aren't many options for the Sony FE mount. Well, not many FE lenses anyway. Well, to have a lens that is nicely made isn't a necessity, but it makes shooting with it oh so much nicer. On first glance, the images you get from the Zeiss are just as delightful as the feel of the lens itself. I could quite literally play with this all day. It's like there's enough resistance so you can feel an aperture click, and it goes in third of a stop increments, so you can feel exactly what aperture setting you're choosing without bothering to look at it, in theory. But it's a digital camera. It says the setting there anyway, and in the Village of the Damned. It's like a time warp. We've gone back in time. Well, actually the roads probably are from like the 70s or something. It's just that they haven't been repaired since then. What does Loxia mean? Don't know. I think it's actually a bird of some sort. Victorian high tea and VIP room Chinese. Is that the name of the restaurant? And a bridal tea house. Victorian high tea and VIP room Chinese food with bridal reception. Basically anybody's welcome. Yeah, so the name Loxia, what's that all about? It's named after a bird. Don't know why. Because this is actually a planar lens. Planar, age-old design from Zeiss, tried and tested. If you look on a Zeiss website, they say Henri Cartier-Bresson's favourite lens. Perhaps a little bit of conjecture. Not sure if he's actually been quoted as saying, yes, I quite like the Zeiss planar 50mm. Fuck Jack. Fuck Jack. This is so good for manual focusing, so smooth and so quick. It's better than the auto-focusing one because they're focused by wire. This is made just for manual focusing. You know, Canon go for the red ring, Pentax go for the green, Nikon go for the gold. Zeiss's colour is blue. Now, they've decided to put it near the actual body. So when you mount it to the Sony, you get blue and orange. I'm not too sure about that colour combination. Although if you're Dutch, you probably do like it. I can appreciate how things are done manually, which is why we've come to this Chinese letterpress shop. The beautiful thing about Hong Kong, these businesses exist in the tiniest of spaces. It's always good to have proper manual focus. You feel in complete control as your thumb and index finger rocks the focus ring back and forth to achieve focus in between shots, rather than relying on the electronics to do its thing. The 35 is quite a belter of a lens. Shooting at larger apertures, the details are ever so fine, and at f4, f5.6, things are even better. German machine, German brand, made in Japan. Let's not forget the 50, it is a cracking lens too. Wide open performance is good, the centre parts look crisp. The only down is the soggy crisp you get as a consequence of field curvature f2 up close. The corners are softer. You'll find the same applies to the 35 wide open too. With the alphabet it's quite simple, you've just got A to Z. But when it comes to Chinese letter printing, that's how many you need. Just a few. And they're all made so intricately. The detail on it is amazing. These have been used for years and years. Of course they're getting worn out now. But the thing is they don't make them anymore. So once these are gone, it's gone forever, and this is essentially a dying art. Distortion is low on the 50mm, just a little bit of barrel distortion, but quite amazingly well controlled on the 35mm. With the 50mm f1.4 planars for the Canon Nikon, it's a little bit soft, wide open. Plenty of colour fringing as well. But with the planars for the ZM, that's the Leica mount, M mount, they're pretty good. These are better lenses than those 50 f1.4 planars for DSLRs, sharper and better corrected, far less chromatic aberrations, and the vignetting quite low. I'm not going to end this with a sweeping statement lauding the lens with a list of superlatives saying that it's the most amazing lens that you'll ever buy. They are two thoroughly good lenses, however. But the key thing is that they have character in the way that they're made, used, and the images that they produce. Bokeh is smoothie-licious with both the 35 and 50mm. Even up to their largest aperture, the backgrounds are beautifully blurred and non-distracting. Oh, and one more thing. There is another interesting feature about the Loxia lenses though. It's this. Aperture clicky. You can adjust it here with a screwdriver for clickless aperture. Especially good for video. The Zeiss Loxia 35 and 50mm are a couple formidable lenses. For sure, they'll appeal to not only photographers with a penchant for buttery smooth manual focus only lenses, but to videographers too. It sort of makes sense for Sony A7 users, as a lot of people buy them for the purpose of shooting with legacy lenses that are only manual focus. But that's because some people already have those lenses, or because they want to use a particular amount of lens. If you're not, then this is not a bad place to start looking.